I'm 99% sure I have seen a UFO in real life. I'm Melissa Morbid, and
Can we
we're the
talk about
Goths Next
that?
Door.
Can we chat
Yes,
about that?
yes. Um, Hi everyone. So years ago, I was doing an auto show, and I think it was either San Jose or San Francisco. And at the hotel, they had little hot tubs, and I was like relaxing after work in the hot tub. And there was a girl in the hot tub by herself on the phone and talking. I'm just like, oh my God, like, we just want to relax. Why are you doing this? So I turned around like this, looking up at the sky, trying not to watch her talk on the phone awkwardly. And then out of nowhere, this gigantic shape, in movies when they're like cloaked technology and there's like a line around them, but they're see through, so you can like see the sky, but there's like a line in the sky. Bro, above my head, a big ass fucking thing moving over me that was like cloaked and had like the line around it. I was like, and I'm looking at this girl on the phone and looking at the sky, and she's just like, so anyway, Tina, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, you're not seeing this? Anybody? And it's just me seeing this giant thing moving so slow over my head. It was so wild. And I was like, I have to go back to my room, call everybody I know, and tell them about this. And the weirdest thing, by the time I got to my room, somehow it was totally out of my mind. I didn't remember till hours later. It was so weird.
I would have literally like liquid shit down my pants.
Yeah, I definitely would liquid shit my pants
Are
if
we
I saw
frozen?
that happen. What did I come into?
We were talking.
Oh,
Melissa said,
me seeing
introduced
the
herself and
UFO.
said she's 99% sure she's seen a UFO. And I was like, can we talk about that?
Now, it could be military
Wow.
technology. We don't know if it's extraterrestrial.
Oh, Jess Rose, thank you for subbing. Also, shout out to everyone who has been subbing for 6 months. It's a happy 6 month anniversary to us, apparently. Yay, thank you.
6 months.
Y'all are so sweet.
God damn. Angela, did you introduce yourself yet or no?
I literally said I'm Angela Undead and I never have an intro to myself.
Oh, I like that.
Right? Isn't
I
that
love
kind of
that.
cute?
It's so cute.
I mean, I feel like
Yes,
it's so on
six
brand.
months.
Yeah, I can't believe we've been doing this shit for 6 months. I feel like we've had so much success, all thanks to you guys. Thank you to y'all.
It's been
Thank you.
so quick.
And I can't believe we've been trying to do this shit weekly. I mean, we have taken time off when we need to, like when we have shit going on in our lives, but we always try to bring you guys content like on Patreon and on Instagram. It's been awesome.
It really has been. And I feel like even if we miss, God forbid, 1 week, we always come back the next week.
Yeah.
With something.
We got shit going on in our lives, but we come back.
Thank you, Kitty. That's so sweet.
Oh, thank you. So tonight we're getting spooky, right?
Yes.
We are.
Who wants to go first? Because I'm fucking nervous.
I mean, I feel like we kind of like already were chatting a bit about UFOs, so I kind of wanted to talk about a topic that. So I recently just started watching Netflix's short documentaries. Each episode is like a different story or like an unsolved mystery. And I don't know why I do that to myself, because I like when there's an ending to something. It's almost like you're being edged every time you watch an episode because you never get an answer. You never get to finish.
Oh my God. I mean, that's definitely one way to put it. I love it.
So there was this one episode called, I want to say it was There's Something Up in the Sky, which even that is like, it gives you chills. But it was about a UFO sighting in Lake Michigan in 1994. And a whole bunch of people were calling 911 because their entire, like, it was about 9 o'clock at night. Everyone was in their homes just hanging out. And their whole neighborhood just lit up. Like there was just like as if it was daytime. And people said they were in like their living room, and the entire, like, all the windows just lit up super bright. So people went outside to see like what was going on, and they said there was like these red, blue, and green lights like up in the sky. And it was like as if it was like like stationed and then moving and then stationed and then moving like really fast. Like so it wasn't a plane. Okay? It wasn't a plane. Um
And this
and
was in the
so
90s?
94.
yes, 94. So people were calling in to the police basically just saying, you know, I'm not calling because I'm in danger and there's nothing really going on, but I want to say there's a UFO up in the sky. Like people were automatically obviously assuming that there was a UFO in the sky. And because they knew it wasn't a plane, they knew it wasn't like anything that that was like, you know, a drone. It wasn't a drone. And like the way it was moving, it was just like, and then there was like five of them, and they were just like
Oh my
moving
god.
across the sky. And it showed like different people like basically talking about their experiences that night. And someone was saying like there was a kid in their front yard and was just like running as fast as he could, but he was running in place, like he wasn't running anywhere. And like I don't know, it's just you have to watch it. You have to watch like the episode. I mean, just listening to these people talk, you know, you could kind of tell when somebody's like fibbing or like going through a
Yeah,
story and
yeah,
not
yeah,
really
yeah.
making sense and stuff like that. But these people were genuinely like terrified. This one guy who was like kind of I don't want to say the Coast Guard, but someone who like watches the planes
Oh,
at
Sky
night,
Patrol or something?
something like that. He was
Paw
saying these,
Patrol, but for the sky.
but for the
Paw
sky.
Patrol.
That's such a mom thing to
I'm
say.
sorry. Jesus fucking Christ. I'll die now.
That's so mom of you. Um but anyway, fuck. I don't know, it was just like just watching it, and the guy was saying how like these objects were moving at like 5,000 miles per hour across his like board. I mean, what plane? I don't know how fast like it was fast,
Planes
okay? It
go
was faster
fast.
than a plane.
Planes go very fast.
I
So, like,
know, I'm
faster
sorry.
than
I
that,
literally
like
I was just
no,
thinking
then that's
about
what I'm
it, but like
saying. Then, like, that's very, very fast.
I wish I fuck, I wish I
Was
like
this on
made bullet
Netflix, you
points.
said?
Yes, it's Unsolved Mysteries. I watched every single episode, but that episode
That
was
is edging. That's literally just true crime edging.
yes.
Now,
Yes.
literally, how back then were they able to look people in the eyes and be like, no, that was just the wind? Like
And
whatever their excuse was.
it went through the Skinwalker
There's a
episode
Skin
is
Walker
terrifying too.
episode?
Yes, yes. All of them are
I
so
haven't
good
seen.
because it goes through people like different people's experiences. And like for the UFO episode, it was going through each person who like experienced something, and it played the 911 calls.
Like they have the calls. What would be the point of making a fake 911 call and lots of people doing it in the same town? Like they all got together and they were like, maybe we'll be famous. Like, come
Yeah.
on. What?
Real talk, if that happened to y'all, that's on a normal day, what would you do? What
Pull
would be
my
your
phone out.
yeah?
Y'all know me. I'm running out there going, guys, I've been waiting for you. I'm right here.
I feel like
Honestly, yeah.
I would do everything possible to like try to leave. My first thought would be flee. I would be like fight or flight. It would be flight. I would grab Mia, and I feel like I would grab like a bag of canned food and be out the fucking door because like I'd be like apocalypse. Like that's like
Apocalypse.
I'm like no, it's the fucking apocalypse. That shit's fucking happening.
Lindsay said I called 911 when I saw a UFO. Lindsay,
I want to know this
Excuse
story.
Lindsay,
me,
can you like
Lindsay.
type a little something up?
Describe it in detail. Oh, happy birthday, kidness.
Happy birthday.
Someone says they
She's
go live.
go
Honestly,
live.
smart. If we see a UFO, we should do that.
Yeah, I'd be
Goths
like,
Next Door stream.
beer
Yeah,
beep.
and then we'd
But we
be
got a good
all over
filter
the
for this.
place.
Hey guys, welcome to my live. This is my friend Kakuchukana Papa. He is from Union.
Okay,
Uh,
speaking of like people doing crazy shit and going live and doing shit for the camera, have you seen this jumping off the boat challenge? 4 people died in this month so far in the state of Alabama.
I actually just saw someone jump off a cruise ship and yeah.
That's worse. That's way
That one I
worse.
saw like a month ago, and that one
Jumped
is
off a cruise ship?
extremely bizarre. So when he jumped off, initially the story was they were like, "Oh, he got eaten by sharks," right? Then later, scientists come out and they're like, "There's not really sharks in that area at all." And they're showing in this video, they throw down a life preserver and he looks at it, sees something in the water, and is like, "Nope," and swims away from the life preserver. What would make you do that? Like,
A mermaid. It was a mermaid. It was a
A
mermaid.
siren. Yeah, like a siren
and he's
call.
gone. Yeah,
I
he's
need to see the
unfortunately.
video.
It's so sad. I didn't know there were more people doing that. Please
No, well,
don't
no,
do
this
that.
one is it's a TikTok challenge where you're supposed to be jumping off a moving boat, but like their boats are going really fast and they jump off the back where like, the jet stream is without anything on. And the problem when you do that is you hit the water with such force that you break your neck. So people are breaking their necks instantly. There was one where someone even jumped out and the mom was recording and they had their 2 kids in the speedboat, literally recorded him die. The body just floated up. That was awful. Anyway, who with the most soothing voice wants to read Lindsay's lovely? Melissa, do you
I'll
want to
I'll
do it?
re-
Or,
I'll,
Angela's got
Angela?
it.
I'll
Angela,
read
yeah,
it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So I was driving home late at night from work and took the farm route. Saw a massive disc hovering over above a field, and the damn thing shut my car off for a second, mid driving, like my radio glitched. The UFO was about the size of a car, disc shape. I'm getting chills. With little blinking lights, and it just floated off into the night sky. 911 had a line to call to report UFOs like this. I'm gonna throw up. I was shook all night, drew a picture, have it somewhere. Oh my god!
Holy shit. 8-bit
I,
girl, I agree.
I I don't know if I can breathe right now. That
I'm
is
getting chills
so
again.
Ugh.
You
intense.
reading it, fuck it feels like yesterday. Like how do you
Uh,
like forget that? Like I feel like if I saw something like that, I've seen like not to say ghost, but you think you see something out of the corner of your eye and you're like, "Damn, I remember things like that." Like it's almost like I explain that as seeing something you feel like you're not supposed to be seeing.
Yeah.
Like it gives me chills.
That is
Ugh.
so scary. I do really respect that Canada has a UFO reporting line.
That's
That's
legit.
that's
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 legit.
actually scary because it's like real. It's like a real thing. Like to
Yeah.
report. No.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a UFO, but I've seen a scary and I don't know what I would describe it as other than like maybe like a demon or a dark entity. I don't know. It was fucking I was like, let's get the fuck out. But we were driving from Pensacola up to North Carolina and we were doing it at night because we were like, oh, we were in college, we were like, drive at night, we'll make it up and in the morning and be able to hang out and party all day. And we had to pull over at a rest stop because something in the car wasn't working. And we pull over first this exit where there's nothing. It's just like a road because they just wanted to pull over to check something. And I was like, I don't know about this. So it's not even like really lights. And it's just one road, like 2 lanes all the way down with heavy woods on either side. And those like little kind of utility hut building things, you're like, I don't know, there's like some kind of power box thing in there, but then they're like fenced off, you know? Like you'll see them like randomly like in places. Like like there's like a little door on them, but like it's like a little like a tiny building. You can't even call it a building. It's like a hut. And they're like fenced off. There was one of them down like a pathway and we drove past it and my friend and I looked down it. It's just a really long road. There's nothing down there. And then we turned around. I was like, I don't like this area. We have to get the fuck out. We turned around. We were going back and we looked back down it again and there was a super tall, like as tall as this very like 9-foot fence. It was taller than that, taller than the building, next to it with big horns and just massive red glowing eyes. And like I saw it and like my skin was crawling. I was like, what? Like 2 seconds ago, I just looked down there and I was like, I like just gasped and I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I didn't say anything. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that was. So we pulled over eventually, like 10 minutes later, we got back on the interstate, pulled over. And I was like, yo, I saw something. And my friend was like, no, I saw it too. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, we both saw it. And it was only us two in the back seat because everyone else was concerned about some other shit. And we were like, mm-mm. But to this day, every time I think about it, I'm like, it was fucking creepy.
Whoa, what?
Like middle of nowhere in just Florida.
The glowing red eyes?
Glowing red eyes. And it was so tall, but it was just a black masked figure.
Like
So
that's
tall. It was tall, yeah. It was before
I
the
mean,
days of
that
Tinder
indeed
though,
sounds
so we
kind
didn't
of
swipe.
hot.
We didn't swipe.
No, that's scary. That almost reminds me of this show that I used to watch. This woman, she would go into homes and like explain these entities that she would be seeing, and like she'd explain it just like that. So like, yeah, that is real.
Nope. I was also listening to yeah, with the fucking horns. Bridget Marquardt from the Girls Next Door and the Girls
I
Next
always
Level.
mess that up. I always mess that up.
One day they're gonna sue us, and I'll be like,
Wait till like one day they want to collab with us, like the Goths and the
Yes.
girls, and like
That's what
just
I'm
manifesting
thinking.
that.
I hope
Bridget
if they
would want
ever
to go ghost
discover us,
hunting with us.
I hope they're not mad. I hope if they ever discover this, they're not just like, what the fuck is wrong with you stealing our shit? But
I don't think they could because the whole phrase "the girl next door" has been around for so long. They can't
yeah,
really
true. This is true.
jump on that. And somehow
Yeah,
on
no.
TikTok, the Goths Next Door has like 50,000 tags.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, there's another account on YouTube, the Goths Next Door, I think.
Oh, that makes sense then.
But it hasn't been active in forever. If I remember trying to like set up our YouTube channel, being like, not okay. They're not doing anything with it. And there's like an inactive Instagram account that's the Goths Next Door without the period in it that I really wanted, but it's like some Australian couple.
I wonder if we could message them.
Like, can we have this account?
Can we please?
I've tried that with Melissa Foster on Instagram and she's never responded and she doesn't post.
It's so annoying.
I've
That's when you
offered
think
money.
I remember
Bitches.
what I did with mine is you just report their account a bunch of times and get it deleted.
That's genius.
No, but like only because they don't post anymore, and you report them for impersonation.
Melissa,
Just saying.
That is really smart.
we're not
And
encouraging this, but
don't do that to us.
Oh no,
you can't impersonate me.
It's only because if it's your name and you actually have your ID. I'm saying with my
So
actual last
smart.
name, I had to report someone because it was like my actual last name, and I was able to show proof.
Oh,
So
smart.
Angela.
Very smart girl. But any other spooky stories?
Ooh, I don't have really any more from my own life, but I have some to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have 11 terrifying but true horror stories, which of course great, love it, very uplifting. There is the Axe Murder House. The Villisca, I might be pronouncing that wrong, so sorry if I am. Axe Murder House in Iowa is a well known tourist attraction for ghost hunters. The site is a gruesome unsolved murder from 1912 in which 6 children and 2 adults had their skulls completely crushed by the axe of an unknown murderer.
Girl, what the fuck?
The house was purchased in 1994 and it was restored back to its 1912 condition because capitalism.
Tourism.
So now you can pay almost $500 a night to
Oh my
stay in
god.
basically a grave site where these people were murdered, including 6 children. So people are paying $500 to stay where children were murdered. Um,
Mm.
and then apparently in November of 2014, the haunting took a darker turn. Robert Stephen Lorson Jr., what a name, of Rhinelander, Wisconsin, was on a regular recreational paranormal visit with friends, as we all do, our regular
Mhm.
recreational paranormal visits. Um, when true store horror struck, his companions found him stabbed in the chest, supposedly a self inflicted wound. And they called 911. He was brought to a nearby hospital and then had to be helicoptered to a bigger medical center. And they're saying his injuries happened at around 12:45 a.m., which is the same time the 1912 axe murders began.
Was he a Cancer? Because that sounds like some dramatic shit a Cancer would do.
Um, they're saying he recovered about from his injuries, but he has never spoken about what happened that day. The owner of the home said it was publicity, but it's not exactly the kind of publicity you desire to have.
Yeah.
Terrible. Our next real life horror story, right? Who's staying there? Exactly. Who is doing that? I get ghost hunting, but that's a little, I don't know. We have a real life haunted doll. We've got some Annabelle shit going on. Normally, you're probably thinking of like an old Victorian porcelain doll,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently, a frozen Elsa doll that was gifted at
No.
Christmas
What the
in
fuck?
No.
2013 in Houston made headlines after it became haunted. The
Shut your
doll
dick off.
recited phrases originally from Frozen saying "Let it go" when you pressed a button on the necklace. For 2 years, it did that in English. And then they're saying in 2015, it randomly started changing languages. There wasn't a button that changed it. It just randomly did it. The family owned the doll for more than 6 years and never changed its batteries. Then the doll started randomly beginning to speak and sing without the button being pressed and the switch was turned off.
I don't like that.
I'm not ready for this part. The family decided to throw the doll away in 2019, and weeks later, it was inside their house on a bench in the living
No.
room.
What the
I,
fuck?
li- I,
No. No,
I'm
that's
not
actual
okay.
Annabelle shit. No, that's actual Annabelle shit.
And they said at that point, Elsa no longer sang "Let It Go," only would speak in Spanish when the button was pressed. They then
What?
double bagged the doll and placed it in the bottom of the garbage can, which was taken out the next day. Y'all, I'm getting so chilled. My hair's freaking me out even. They went on a trip shortly after, and when they came back, Elsa was back in the backyard. 2 times they got rid of it, and it came back. So now I guess
Uh,
this doll lives on the front bumper of a truck. They mailed it to a friend who taped the doll to the front of their truck. I
No,
would
I don't
not
like
put a
that.
haunted doll on my truck. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, it's kind of bad luck.
oh
I
my
honestly, I
god.
would leave the house. Like, if the doll wants the house that bad, it's yours, Elsa. I'm gonna let that go. And
Let it go.
Well,
uh,
I don't want to be like the person who's like causing doubt, but my question is do they have possibly like a housekeeper for like cuz the first time cuz like if they threw it out and then like went on a trip and their housekeeper saw it and they're like, "Oh my god, they actually threw out her accidentally threw out her favorite doll. I don't want this to be
no,
thrown
they're
out." So they
saying
just
they
place it.
purposely put it at the bottom of the trash
No,
and
that's
then
the
took
second
the trash
time.
out the
But that's
second
the
time.
second time,
Oh, you mean the
right?
first
So,
time?
but this in the second time, imagine just out of fucking fluke, the trash people are. Well, no, I guess they just dumped the whole trash in. It's not like the trash men and then tossed it into the backyard. But yeah, okay.
So
I don't know. I'm
creepy.
just being
Even if it
unapologetic.
is someone fucking with them, like even that's creepy. Why is someone
Creepy as
fucking with you
fuck.
with this doll?
Creepy
And
as
Yeah.
why
fuck.
would a doll that didn't have the recordings in other languages suddenly be able to
Mm.
speak in other languages? Super wild. Super wild. We up
At the end of the
next,
day, I don't need that.
right? Yeah, we're good on that. We have a real life deadly exorcism in August 2016 in North London. A 26-year-old Kennedy Ife began acting strange and aggressive following a penis. Oh wow, this gets graphic. Uh,
Penis.
if you're under 18, please don't listen right now for the next like 15 seconds. He reportedly bit his father and threatened to cut off his own penis and complained of a snake inside him before his family restrained him to a bed with cables, ties, and excessive force. The BBC reports the family then set out attempting to cure him with restraint and prayer over 3 days. 3 days, this poor kid is tied up and like in pain, feeling like there's a snake inside him. His brother Colin Ife told police, "It's clear that that thing was in him. What we believed was a demon because it was not natural. It was clearly trying to kill him. We had to restrain him for himself. It was clear if we didn't, he would have tried to harm people in our family." Kennedy Ife was bound to his bed for 3 days without medical attention, and then his brother called emergency services saying,
Yeah.
right, I know. He was complaining of dehydration, and they're saying he apparently developed breathing issues and then was pronounced dead at 10:17 in the morning.
Oh my god.
They're saying while the police were at the house, Colin allegedly carried out an attempted resurrection by praying and chanting. And then all seven of his family members were accused of manslaughter, false imprisonment, and causing the death of a vulnerable adult. And then a post-mortem examination revealed over 60 wounds, including a possible bite on his body, and his father, along with four of the brothers, had injuries as well.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this because I just heard something. I don't know if do either of you have a TV on?
Probably my mom.
No, you heard a
My
voice?
mom downstairs.
I just heard like a male groan.
I mean,
Is it
that's
I
like
feel
probably
like
loud?
Twitter. That's so creepy.
I
no, I
swear I
kind of
heard
heard
something
something
weird.
outside of my headphones. My mom might be watching something downstairs. No, it's 10:30. She's probably in bed.
Well,
Ew, I literally am going to rewatch the stream because I heard something and it just I don't know. It just sounded really weird.
I don't like it.
um, the uh, the the brothers said that they had to take shifts and use overwhelming force to be able to subdue the brother. And after 4 days of jury deliberation, all seven members were cleared of charges. That's
Oh,
pretty
Jesus.
bizarre. This one I'm gonna skip because it sounds just terrible. Ooh, Florida, we love that.
Great.
Florida
Let's go.
devil worshipping.
Naturally.
Friends noticed that Danielle Harkins, a 35-year-old school teacher near St. Pete, Florida, started acting strangely in June of 2012, dun, 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 developing an interest in demonic rituals. Soon after, she was arrested for abuse of seven of her students, as the Tampa Bay Times reported. Danielle Harkins told the kids they needed to rid their bodies of demons as the group gathered
No.
before dusk around a small fire. She told them, trigger warning, please turn away if you are sensitive to self harm. She told them they should cut their own skin to let the evil spirits out. And then she told them, these children, that they needed to burn their wounds to ensure the spirits would not return. When Harkins held a lighter to one
Normal.
teen's hand, the wind blew the flame out. That prompted her to douse his hand in perfume before setting it on fire.
How old was this person?
35.
No, was that she lit their hand on fire? This child?
Oh, it just says the boy.
Oh my god, Jesus Christ.
The it sounds like they're teenagers. It says another teen was cut on the
Okay.
neck with a broken bottle, and Harkins used a flame to heat a small key, which then she used to cauterize the wound. And the police were notified because a friend of one of the students who participated in the rituals raised alarms. However, none of the students told their parents or would comment following the arrest of her.
Hell
They
no.
were like, we're too gullible. I can't believe we got brought into this shit.
Right? What?
Fucking dumbass teenagers. I love them.
Elisa Lamb was last seen on January 31st, 2013, in the lobby of the Cecil Hotel. Oh shit, this place
Ah,
is so haunted in LA. Okay, next time the ghouls are in LA, we gotta go to the Cecil
no.
Hotel.
No. Oh, fucking mosquito in here. No, I'm not going there.
I
So,
will.
Elisa was vacationing and documenting her trip on her blog, checking in with her parents every day. And on January 31st, those calls stopped. She had vanished. Soon the police were involved and the parents were involved, but they had nothing. That February, the LAPD released elevator surveillance of her before her
Mm-hmm.
disappearance. The
Yep, I
footage
remember
shows
this.
her behaving strangely in the elevator, appearing to talk with invisible people, peering around the corner of the door, crouching in the corner, and opening and
Mm-hmm.
closing the door. Theories range
Ugh.
from psychotic episodes to demonic possession to unknown assailants just out of the camera's view. Around that time, hotel guests started reporting weird things happening with the Cecil Hotel water supply. The shower was awful, said one guest. When you turn on the tap, the water was coming in black.
Oh
The
And people
tap
still drank
water,
it and
I
brushed their teeth.
know, tasted
my god.
horrible. It had a very funny, sweet, disgusting taste. A
Hmm.
very strange taste. I'm going to go ahead and not drink the water that tastes weird and is coming out black, but that's just me.
Yeah, no.
And for a week, hotel desk didn't complain. Y'all, the Cecil's also an expensive hotel. What do you mean
Is
you
it?
waited a week? I'm pretty sure it's a nice hotel.
I thought it was not.
Yeah, I don't think it was because I remember Richard Ramirez would stay there all the time, and
Yeah.
it was kind of like
It's
a
right, it's literally
stingy.
right next to Skid Row. I know that.
I know, I think that that it was there put there intentionally with that. Unfortunately, that's a whole terrible thing. I don't
But
know.
oh yeah, I remember reading all about that shit and seeing the footage. It's so eerie. It's
What's
so
your
creepy.
what's your
So
thought on it? Because I have a theory.
What's your
I'll
theory?
finish the story for people first who may not
Oh.
know what happened
Mhm.
next. On the morning of February 19th, the hotel employee climbed to the roof and used a ladder to investigate the hotel's water tanks. And that's where they found the decomposing naked body of Lamb, whose personal items were found nearby. An autopsy said her death was accidental. The tank has a
Mm.
metal latch that can be opened, but authorities said access to the roof is secured with an alarm and a lock. So, how did she get up there? The single room occupancy hotel has an unusual history. A night stalker, Richard Ramirez, who was found guilty of 14 slayings in the 1980s, lived
Mhm.
on the 14th floor for several months in 1985. And international serial killer Jack Unterweger, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, is suspected of murdering 3 sex workers during the time he lived there in 1991. And in 1962, a female occupant jumped out of one of the hotel's windows and killing herself and a pedestrian on which she landed.
Damn, that's shitty luck.
That is like, how did she get into that tank by herself if the door was locked and alarmed?
Angela, theory.
So that I don't have a theory with because I don't understand how she could have gotten up there by herself, especially like explaining how when they needed to look for her that they needed a ladder to even get up there.
Yeah.
But I do know that she did suffer with like bipolar, um, and I know that like people with bipolar can tend to have like freakouts and episodes. So the way that she was reacting didn't really give me like a she's terrified of something vibe. I felt like she just was like mentally ill and either was in a psychosis because I do have people in my family who have like been through that, so I see that and definitely know that that is bipolar, that she was going through an episode, but then
Mm-hmm.
to end up in a water tank naked and decomposing and being there, I don't have an answer to that.
Do
And
you
them
think it's
ruling an
possible?
accident.
Do you think it's possible that while she was having a break, eventually she ran into someone who worked with the hotel who did not take the situation appropriately, and she got injured to a point where, like, because she was her death rule a drowning?
The
I think
thing I
so
said just says an
So
accidental death.
because
so
there was no like blunt force trauma or
well,
anything to
imagine,
her.
like, she, like, got knocked out or something, and, like, look how shitty the staff was at the hotel of, like, even taking care of the water thing, and they see on their camera, like, someone who's been real good to the hotel or someone who knows some shit about the hotel that could get it shut down. He's like, "Yo, I'm not going. You're gonna cover for me." And then because he just randomly threw the fucking body in the thing, and then she drowned in there. But he like knocked her unconscious. Was like, "Fuck, what do I do?" And then threw her in there. And then when shit hit the fan later, he was like, "Don't say anything. I have shit on this hotel." Like, I wonder if there was
Or
some
I feel like
even like
shady.
someone
if
from the
she was
hotel is
so
involved.
if she
You
was
don't think
so
so?
like out of
I
it,
do.
Oh,
if she was so out of it, I guarantee you they could have been like, "Oh, well, like let's go up there and you can climb into this tower and there's something in there that can help you or whatever." Like they could have
yeah.
coaxed her into going into there and then just closing the lid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So freaky, man.
It's
That's
just
so
like
sad for
yeah,
her.
it's so upsetting.
It's just so sad. And I know that I feel like well, I can't remember the specific show, but a show did a version of this story. I feel like and they definitely the way they had it was like a for sure murder.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't. I don't think they really presented well on the mental health aspect because that's really an important part with like how vulnerable she was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so sad. In happier news, we've got an exorcism in Indianapolis.
Fun.
Um,
Fun.
last year, the Indianapolis Star published a lengthy report on a family that was terrorized by three children allegedly possessed by demons. The account of Latoya Ammons and her family tells disturbing stories of children climbing up the walls, getting thrown across rooms, and children threatening doctors in deep, unnatural voices. It would seem like something
No.
straight out of a movie, except all of these accounts were corroborated with nearly 800 pages of official records. And it's
Mm,
recounted in more than a dozen interviews with police, uh, Department of Child Services personnel, psychologists, and a Catholic priest. One
Uh,
of the chilling sections of the report includes a segment about the possessed 9-year old. According to Washington's original DCS report, an account corroborated by Walker, the nurse, the 9-year old had a weird grin and walked backward up a wall to the ceiling.
seems
He
right.
then flipped over her and landed on his feet, and he never let go of his grandmother's hand. So a nurse saw this, like not just the mom, but a nurse of a hospital saw this. And then the 12-year-old would
no.
later tell mental health professionals that she sometimes felt as if she were being choked and held down so she couldn't speak or move. She said she heard a voice say she'd never see her family again and wouldn't live another 20 minutes. Yo, I don't have a kid, but if you were a demon and you said that shit to my kid, I would figure out whatever to just, oh man, how that's so awful, these poor kids. So that's horrifying. A kid walking backwards up a wall is enough for me. That's
No.
Yeah, I'd say
I'm
that's
good.
it for me.
I'm good on that.
I'm totally gone. In September of 2014, we have a Utah murder suicide. A Utah teen returned to his home to find his parents and three siblings dead. In a notebook, a to do list had been scribbled on the pages. The list looked as if the parents were getting ready to go on vacation. Items such as feed the pets and find someone to watch the house were written. It appeared to be murder suicide, but there was no suicide note, no prior indication they would do this, and no explanation. Police could not figure out why two parents would kill themselves and three of their four children. For a year, no one knew exactly what happened or why they would do such a horrible thing. But then in January, police released more details about the case. According to accounts from family members and the police investigation, the parents were driven by a belief that the apocalypse was coming and an obsession with a convicted killer.
No.
The family told police the parents were worried about evil in the world and wanted to escape
Oh
a pending
no.
apocalypse. Most people assumed that meant they wanted to move off the grid. And they found letters written by Christy Strack to one of the most infamous convicted killers, Dan Lafferty, who was convicted in the 1984 fatal stabbing of his sister in law and her 1 year old daughter. Why would you write letters to that man?
I don't know.
I, wow. That is so freaky.
Nope.
Mm.
Nope.
We've got
Ugh.
two more creepy stories and then I'm done. Ugh. In 2007, ABC News documented a series of cell phone calls to families with terrifyingly specific death threats. The unidentified callers knew exactly what the families were doing and what they were wearing. The
Oh
families
no.
That's giving me horrible chills. The families say the calls come in at all hours of the night, threatening to kill their children, their pets, their grandparents. Voicemails would arrive.
Not the grandparents.
The
No.
voicemails were playing recordings of their private conversations, including one with a police detective.
No one
I
is
would move.
safe.
I would That is horrifying. This went on with the one family for months who reported a caller with a scratchy voice threatening to slit their throats. When the police tried to find the culprit, the calls were traced back to their own house even when the phones were turned off.
Jesus Christ, of course. Calls from coming from
God
inside the house.
damn.
I, the fact that the hackers knew their every move, they're saying they believe they were using their cell phones to spy on them, and that's how they were able
Yeah.
to get their recording with the local detective. But that could just be the police saying that, trying to cover up someone in the police who gave them that recording.
Oh, true.
There's a
That's true.
lot of dirty, a lot of
There's a lot
dirty
of dirty
talk.
shit. Yeah.
Our
Nope.
final uplifting positive story of the night from me. The
Cold.
Watcher. Oh my god, this
Ooh,
is
The
that
from
Watcher.
show!
New
Yes.
Jersey.
Woo!
This is in
Yeah.
New
Yes.
Jersey.
You've got to watch it if you haven't seen it. Maybe I should skip
That
this one
shit
because it's a show.
crazy.
I'll move on to the cannibal story. The
That's a
Watcher
good
watched
one.
the show. Super good.
Cannibal
Yeah,
story. That's so.
cannibal.
Let's
Really
just move
nice.
on to the cannibal story.
Lots of sugar and love today. I may be pronouncing the name wrong. Asai the Cannibal. In 1974, a 24-year-old Waco University student allegedly followed a German woman to her home in Tokyo, Japan, broke into her apartment while she was sleeping, and attempted to cut a piece of flesh off her body to consume. When she awoke, she fought him, and he was later captured by police. In a 2012 Vice documentary that covered the story, he was mistakenly charged with attempted grape, and his wealthy father paid the victim a settlement out of court to have the charges dropped. But 7 years later, he allegedly committed a murder in France, shooting and then eating a fellow university student, Renee Hartvelt. And he documented the entire experience with photographs. And the authorities found them when he was attempting to dump the rest of her body in a lake. He was deported back to Japan and committed to a mental institution. For reasons unknown, his psychologist in Japan declared that he was sane, and a
Oh
legal
God.
technicality involving the French government refusing to turn over the documents from his case meant that the murder
No.
charges were
No.
dropped completely. He
Jesus
checked
Christ.
himself out of the mental hospital and has been walking the streets as a free man ever since. He's become a celebrity and has wrote over 20 books. A murderer and a cannibal who ate someone is walking free.
That's not right.
I love this. It's great.
I don't like that.
It goes
Well,
on to do
fucking
some
shit.
really disturbing things that he describes, but I don't think he needs that attention to read what
No.
he wrote. But it's disturbing and horrifying.
Fuck. Well, I can either follow that up with top 10 trophies killers took from their victims or 10 awful ways to go.
Ooh, they're both so good. I'm sorry, Cyan. I know.
Well, I lost my dinner after that.
Yeah, seriously, it's a nah.
Trophies. I want to hear some trophies.
Okay. Trophies they be taken. Ew. The eyes, Charles Albright. The media has always had a habit of nicknaming every killer they possibly could, and if the killer has ever taken trophies, then there's a name. There's certainly your true first entity known as the eyeball killer.
Mm,
That's who are you? I'm the eyeball killer.
I'm the eyeball killer.
Albright spent most of his adult life hopping from one crime to another: theft, illegal weapons, assault, fraud. His transgressions only escalated. By the time he sexually molested a minor, Jesus Christ, it was clear that his mental state was degrading. Yeah, no shit. He then moved on to murder, even mutilating the victims' bodies. His trophies were their eyeballs, which authorities never found despite his arrest of conviction. So he was definitely doing something with the
They
eyeballs.
never found them. Did he eat them?
That's yeah, we're cannibalism part 2. That's fair. I would think so. Camping gear, Ivan Milat.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, camping gear. I could be
That's
mispronouncing his
fine.
last name.
That's a little
You
less horrifying.
Oh, okay. Say you may know him. No, we don't know this motherfucker. You may know Ivan Milat as the backpack murderer or
I actually
Australia's
do.
worst serial killer. You do?
The backpack murderer. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Oh, motherfucker. But what you might not know is the unusual trophy collection he amassed from his 7 victims. He targeted backpackers, offering them rides, and then driving them into the forest where he shot them or stabbed them. His victims were apparently on their way to or coming from camping trips, as he chose to take their camping supplies as trophies. When police searched his home, they found, in their own words, an Aladdin's cave of camping gear: sleeping bags, portable stove, canteens, you name it. And for some reason, he killed for all of that. Fun. Good for you. Ooh, I haven't read this, so I just found the nice article headline, so I don't know how this is going to go. Their baby. Baby. John
Ah,
John Edward Robinson. Over his lifetime, John Edward Robinson earned no shortage of cruel accolades. He was a scam artist, embezzler, and forger, and his most famous title was the internet's first killer, due to his habit of luring victims into chat rooms. Yep, okay, that makes sense. Yet another dark deed on Robinson came in the form of one possession he stole from one of his victims, their 4-month-old daughter. Oh, that fucking sucks. Robinson met Lisa Stassi in 1985 while she was down on her luck and staying at a women's shelter in Kansas City. It's always vulnerable people. Under a fake name and posing as someone more successful and less murder prone, Robinson offered Stacy a job, a home, and a better life. Instead, Robinson killed Stacy and stole her daughter. Stacy's body was never found, but the child fared better, thankfully. Robinson only kept her for a short while before giving her over to his brother and sister in law. Evidently, they were unaware of the kidnapping and they raised her like they would have their own daughter. So
That
it
one's
did have
really
like
fucked up.
that, it did have a nice ending, but oh, are you crying, Melissa?
That really affected me. I'm so sorry.
I'm
It's
sorry.
so sad. No, I'm so sorry. I'm fine. I'm fine. That's just so sad.
That's really sad. Um, this one's in quotes. The Screaming Boy, Chris Bush. This entry is a weird one because the trophy in question only came from a serial killer suspect and therefore could be no trophy at all. The identity of the Oakland County child killer, who was killed at least 4 children in the 1970s in Michigan, was
Like,
never
fucking.
conclusively determined. It's always the fucking children.
For what?
I don't know. However, Chris Bush stood out as a suspect because of a trophy. He allegedly committed suicide, which is debatable and worth looking into in the future. And at the scene, taped to the wall above his dead body was a hand drawn picture. It showed a young boy seemingly screaming in pain who bore a striking resemblance to one of the confirmed victims. So, like, is it like, did he do it? Because, like, we'll never really know because he, like, is gone. He can't say anything, but we don't
It
know.
would seem like if he has that drawing, that
Yeah.
would.
Yeah. Bathtubs of Blood, Elizabeth Bathory, which
Ooh,
we know.
this
We
is
know
less
this bitch.
sad, more
We know this
horrifying.
bitch. Uh, the Countess Elizabeth Bathory, who we all know and love, was a Hungarian noblewoman who was misdeeds have become legend. Over the years, the stories of her cruel and cannibalistic acts have grown to the point where she has been hypothesized to be the inspiration for Bram Stoker's Dracula, but it's very likely court of her legend. She tortured and killed hundreds of young women. The real question is whether or not she kept containers of their blood for drinking and bathing in because she wanted to stay young. Historians disagree on the legitimacy of those claims, citing them as either propaganda, fear mongering, or just idle gossip. It is true that as a child, Bathory's doctors prescribed rubbing on and drinking a healthy young blood to treat her seizures. Combined with her targeting of healthy young virgin women and her extreme sadism, it seems possible that the blood remained part of her life through adulthood, too.
You guys you seen that one billionaire guy on TikTok who is trying to reverse his age and he's getting blood transfusions from his son?
That's
Oh
not
my
gonna work.
god.
That's not gonna work, you dumbass. You dumb fucking cunt. That's not gonna work.
Why is the blood of young people still a thing? Like after so many,
Not a thing.
leave the young ones alone.
This one is 37 X's marks the spot. Ooh, 30. Wait, ooh. How Robert Hansen murdered a possible 37 women sounds like it could only happen in a movie. After kidnapping and torturing his victims, Hansen would fly them out into the remote Alaskan wilderness, release them into the frigid wilds, and then hunt them for sport. Jesus. And
What?
the trophy that he kept, a map hidden behind his headboard with little X's on where he dumped the bodies. The most chilling feature of the map is that Hansen had written 37 X's on it, while only 17 of his victims have been confirmed. Some of the
Fuck.
17 were found at least in the X locations, including bodies that were previously unknown as being victims. This strongly points to the legitimacy of the map and even further suggests that there are potentially 20 more victims that await discovery.
I'm not gonna lie, I am shocked that hasn't been made into a film.
It well, spoiled Dexter. The new season of
Kinda.
Dexter, they did that.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. I was like, I feel like Hollywood would have just snatched that right
Right.
up.
This one is their voice, Eddie. Leonsky.
Ursula?
Yeah, right? Sorry up that bitch. At first mention, it may seem like killer Eddie Leonsky shouldn't make this list. After all, 3 murders. He never once left the scene with a trophy. Instead, he earns a spot because he carried out every murder for the sole purpose of obtaining trophies, but he simply failed every single time. He failed because it was impossible to harvest the desperately desired trophies, namely women's voices. What the fuck? In 1942, while he was an active serviceman in the U.S. Army during World War II, he strangled 3 women. From witness reports, it was clear that he had attempted to murder several others similarly. When picked out of a lineup by multiple women, Leonce confessed to his crimes. His reason, like Ursula the Sea Witch, he desperately jealous of women's singing voices and he wanted to get their voices for
Damn.
himself. Bitch, you called it.
I
No.
d- what did he think was gonna happen? He was gonna cut out their voice box and like speak through it and be like, "Ah," like what? Where?
I don't know. I'm
Wow.
also, by the way, I'm reading all of this is off of Listverse. If anybody ever wants to read these, this is off Listverse, what I'm reading. Great website. I think it's similar to that movie Perfume, Story of a Murderer, where he was addicted to women's scents, so he tried to capture he would murder them and capture their scents and made like a perfume out of it. Have you never seen it? Oh my god, it's got Alan Rickman in it. It's
Oh,
great.
Now I have
Um, yeah, it's
right.
great.
I was like, well, now that's a must.
to.
Mm-hmm. Feet, socks, and shoes because
Of
feet.
course.
Jerry Brudos. If
Jerry.
if Jerry
Jerry.
Brudos were into feet was just into feet, he would have simply been on this list and featured in some top 10 kinks you should stop shaming, but who cares? But Bravos, he loved feet too much, far too much.
Feet.
Jerry loved feet so much that he would murder women, cut off their feet, and keep rotting appendages as models for his shoe collection, also partially taken from his victims. Though feet were by far Jerry's biggest fetish, it's worth noting that he also kept victims' breasts to make plastic molds to use as paperweights. I thought I've heard of this guy before. Yeah, yeah. hmm And then this is number 2. Just everything. David Parker Ray, suspected of more than 60 murders. Hang on. I got
60?
my 60. David Parker Ray. It's always the people with 3 names. Also known as the Toy Box Killer, is one of history's most prolific serial killers. If even half of the allegations against him, many by his closest friends and accomplices, are true, then Ray was an abnormally twisted, wicked individual. As befitting such a rare beast, the trophies he took from his victims are horrifying both in content and quantity. The FBI maintains a website lists with pictures of every trophy that Ray is thought to have come from a murder victim. The many trophies are heartbreaking, especially knowing the inhumane amount of torture he subjected his victims to. Many are jewelry, but some are personal and intimate. Worst of all, some are clearly from young children. So you can go scroll through them, but you got to scroll at your own risk. All these things that he
Jesus.
took.
God.
How could someone get away with that many for so long?
And here's the last one. And I hope that it ends not horribly because this is already, I'm like, up. Number 1, the dog.
Oh my
John
god,
George
I'm over it.
Hay, right? You don't get the nickname the acid bath murderer because you're a great guy. But there are things even worse than killing and dissolving people. Specifically, they're stealing someone's dog, which is as bad as it gets. That's why John George Hay, the acid bath murderer, makes to the top of the list. In a nutshell, his original story revolves around him going to prison for fraud and then realizing that the best crimes leave no witnesses or evidence. Hence, when he realized and returned to his life of crime, he started tying up loose ends and throwing everything into vats of acid. However, his worst crime came when he murdered Archibald and Rose Henderson. First of all, Archibald, shout out. If we know any Archibalds, you get free subscriptions to everything we have for life. To steal all their possessions and sell them off. Though he sold most of their estate, he decided to keep and raise their dog for some reason. That's tremendous insult to injury. So, like, the dog's fine. He just kept it. But that's real mean. Real fucked up. And that's it for my list of trophies.
I would haunt him forever. I would poltergeist the shit out of him. I would exorcist. Like, I'd be everything. I'd be his living nightmare. Oh
Damn.
my god.
What the fuck?
Right. Nope. Mm-mm.
Wow.
No. What? Oh, what? My pregnancy cravings?
This person is saying that they're pregnant, I think.
Oh,
my
congratulations.
God.
Sorry, I missed that. Congratulations. Kudos to you.
That's so exciting.
Unless we don't want it to be a thing, in which case we support you.
That too?
We don't know.
Or either
We're
way.
basing our reaction on your reaction. We're happy if you're happy. We support you any way, shape, or form. Pregnancy crave. I liked donuts, which is unusual because I never liked donuts before my pregnancy. Now I do.
Sweet tooth.
And they say if you like sweet things when you're pregnant, you have a girl. So I don't know if that's true.
Apples. Fucking apples. That's healthy.
Those are all pretty. Yeah, I was like, those are.
I ate a lot of apples with like peanut butter on them because it's a healthy snack. I tried to eat really healthy during my pregnancy. My husband ate like fucking garbage, so I just had to sit next to that and watch that. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah. But that's it for mine. Do you have any more, Angela?
That was all I had, talking about some UFO aliens.
God, we should do a whole nother episode about aliens.
I feel like that would be so much fun.
I mean, obviously, we might have a resident alien who knows quite a bit about aliens.
I mean, I'm ready. I'm excited.
Yeah, that would honestly be a really fun topic. I feel like aliens, it's like just such a weird thing to talk about in a good way.
Especially right now with the amount of high-ranking military officials who are becoming whistleblowers, there's so many right now, and literally for them it's like hurting their career to do this. So there's no like, oh, they just want to have their career, be famous, or their 15 minutes of fame. These are very conservative, like military folks, high ranking, and this is like for them low key they feel like embarrassing and like it could hurt their career, and they still feel like it is so important that they're going to Congress to talk about it. I mean, it is wild what's been happening over the last few months. Could do a whole deep dive.
But yeah, thanks. I had to be up early at the ass crack of dawn because my daughter has an 8:15 appointment.
Well, I feel like that was a good stream.
Yeah. We'll go longer next time.
Yeah.
Today we were all a little bit tired.
It was just a little scary story stream.
Yes.
I loved it. That was good.
Angela, go back and listen to that part of the stream.
Yeah, I am. I want to find it and I'll send it. I'll send it in our little chat.
There's a man's creepy groan in there.
I swear I heard it. I swear I heard it.
It's so creepy.
How do I go back though? Would it
when the
post
when the stream ends, it's gonna automatically post.
Okay, I'm going on there.
All right. Well, I guess
until then, you guys.
We love you, and we will see you next
Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.